My name is Minoo Dixon. I'm a composition student finishing up my master's right now.
Well, welcome to the podcast. We're super excited to have you. Yeah. You just won a major award for a piece you just wrote.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. What award did you win?
I won the NBA/Alfred Young Band composition competition, and it happens like every 2 years. It's hosted by NBA and then sponsored by Alfred, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But that's the award, yeah.
and it's a fun piece.
Yeah, so, thank you.
And this piece, it's written for a band, right? Like a wind ensemble, I should say. And it's got a very kind of dark but like fun feel to it. And so let's start with, so talk about the name. It's like a gambling name, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Close. Okay, like Balatro, well, I'll get to that. But Balatro originally in Latin means Joker. And so that's really how that came together.
Okay.
But at the time, I was playing this game called Balatro. And it's not exactly gambling. It like uses poker hands to do like a solo card game. It's like called a deck building game. And then within that, so you're just trying to get the odds in your favor, but you're not necessarily like staking anything. But the levels are called stakes.
Okay.
And so it has like gambling terminology, but no gambling in it. So it's just like a deck building game. So you're just trying to beat a bunch of rounds and get high numbers. So that's like where I got that idea from. And Balatro is a pretty cool game.
Is it like solitaire? Do you play it by yourself?
Yeah. It's like a really cracked version of solitaire, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I got a lot of my friends hooked onto it, and I was really hooked onto it when I was writing the piece. And that's kind of like how that name came to be. But for a while, I like had a bunch of working names when composing it. I didn't like land on Balatro immediately. I think it's like once I set the tone of the piece is when I realized, this word specifically works well with the atmosphere I'm creating. If that makes sense.
So the name came after the piece was already starting to be formed.
Yeah. It was like halfway through the piece. I was like, like I'm like playing the game like on my couch, which was like next to my computer. I was just like,
instead of writing, were you doing instead of writing?
I'll switch between the two. I'm like, oh man, like I got a deadline. And then I'm like, this title works. And then so I was like, and that's how it happened.
It does work.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking when the pre-name? What were you thinking? Like, what was the inspiration for getting started?
Let's go to like, like to the seed.
Seed, yeah.
Well, it started with, it has actually nothing to do with how the piece turned out. It started with a poem I wrote called like The Garden of Pluto. And like Pluto, like not in like the planet, but more like as in the god Pluto, like the devil. So it's supposed to be like an allegory of like the Garden of Eden. So it's like a reflection of that. And this like Pluto in this poem is basically like AI. And so it's like man has created a new man, essentially, like within this poem. And then no idea how like it transformed into that. But in that idea, I was like, okay, like I really think the octatonic scale will somehow be salient within this piece. And then I realized as I was composing it, because I was composing it for a recording session that Adrian Sims was doing here at UT. And I wanted it to be within an accessible grade level. So the real seed that led to Balatro was the octatonic scale is pretty prominent like within like 20th century, 21st century music. However, it's not really taught at a young age or in high school. Like I never got taught the octatonic scale in high school or middle school. I only got taught it because I was taking composition lessons in high school. And so I was like, well, then there needs to be a vehicle of education for younger musicians to learn this then, because they're going to encounter it. And so that's how that originally, like the actual seed that led to Balatro happened. It was like I really wanted a piece that was accessible, like technical wise, that was still using the octatonic scale, so that like musicians who are learning could like learn it in a way that's accessible for them, but then still like enjoyable for them to play, but still not, I guess pandering might be, like for lack of words, like pandering towards like commercial viability, if that makes sense. It's like I still wanted it to sound like me in a way. Yeah. So to loop it up
so,
back in.
What is this scale? So talk a little bit about what the scale is.
Fair.
Yeah.
And so the octatonic scale is just a pattern of like whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And it's called octatonic because there's 8 notes in the scale.
Okay.
Versus most major scales having 7, or minor scales having 7 notes. So that's the scale. And it's pretty, I mean, the concerts coming up. It's really like common within Shostakovich and Stravinsky's music. Like they're kind of like the ones who like popularized it. Not really, but like kind of like when you hear that, you're like, they use that. If that makes sense. But they aren't like the inventors of it. Like, it's been around for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. So and then and so this is written for, would you say high school?
I aimed for middle school, but I think high schools and like colleges could also play it. If that makes sense. I didn't want it to, like, I wanted a middle school piece that didn't sound like a middle school piece. So this is technically grade 3, which means 8th grade could play it. Like if they started in 6th grade, 1, 2, 3, like after in their 3rd year of playing their instrument, this is accessible, and technically through Alfred it is. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So let's keep the story. Yeah. So there's a scale, right? You want to teach it to middle school students, right? And then so how does it evolve past that?
And so I went through many iterations of a piece because I started with like Omar Thomas. Like I would like every week I think I brought in a new file where like I just scratched what I brought from last time. Like there were like more choral works, and then, like as in choral, as in like it was like more like individual voices happening, and then all these other things happening. And eventually I landed on the Balatro idea because in between like 10 minutes of TAing, I just like sat at the piano with my friend. I started like banging out chords, and I was like, oh, this kind of works. And I like wrote it on the board and took a picture. And then I just kind of wrote it in like, I want to say like a couple weeks because I had a hard deadline. And I was like, this needs to like finish. But I liked the seed of that new idea.
Was the deadline? Was it the competition deadline?
No. Oh yeah. We'll get to that. So like, well, yeah, we'll get there. But no, it was actually the deadline for the recording session. So I did a recording session with that piece because with like Adrian and like we got a lot of like UT like musicians to record a bunch of like wind ensemble pieces. And so it was sort of that recording session. If you want, I can talk about like how the competition happened because that's like months later. Okay. Actually, yeah, but yeah.
So let's talk about the recording session first. Yeah. So is it the same piece? Has it changed at all since that recording session?
So it had to change a little bit due to like Alfred having different instrumentation for their like Young's Funk series. So I had to take out, I think, a flute part, add in some part, and then take out another part. So musically, it didn't really change much. I think there's like one measure that changed, and I agreed. Like the editor was like, "Hey, like, have you thought about this?" And I was like, "No, I haven't, but I'm gonna steal it from you now." Yeah. And it's still gonna have my name. Yeah. And then and so not much. No, not really. Yeah, it's basically the same, but it's a different recording from the recording session. I can't use the recording session anymore because I had to do it through Alfred because the instrumentation changed, and so I had to reflect that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So like let's talk about the competition.
Yeah. So I purely like. I think I went out of absolute luck. It was just like, I think all the right people were in the room, like the judges. I think it was like all the right judges. And then I only submitted, because I submitted on the last day because of a Facebook ad. Like I think I was like scrolling on the toilet, honestly. And I was like, oh man. like I like read the guidelines. I was like, it has to be unpublished. They prefer a recording though. And I was like, well, like how often do you have an unpublished piece that you have a good recording of? And then it just so happened it was in the right grade level and it fit all the rest of the criteria. And I was like, well, I'll just like throw in an application. Like I have the score. And I think the funny part about like it being unpublished is I was really like trying to get it published. And it only fell through because the J.W. Pepper website crashed. My account crashed for like 3 weeks. Like I didn't have access to the account. And so there's kind of like this optimal window of like publishing due to like the season of like high school, middle school is coming back and like when directors are looking for pieces. And so usually I try to aim to be in that like window between like July and like the first week of August, generally July though. And my account crashed, so I couldn't upload it and I couldn't like send it to anyone to upload. And
so this is like when you're submitting it?
Not to the competition, like to like JW Pepper to like upload it. Like my account just wasn't uploading the piece. And I was like, well, I can't. I was getting actually a little upset. Like I was emailing support every day. I was like, hey, like what's going on? Like I want to be able to like put this out in time. And then they didn't fix everything until like mid-August. And I was like, well, schools have already started. They're not going to buy the rep now. Me uploading it would just like it wouldn't gain any momentum essentially. This is like all like the business side of composition, unfortunately. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just wait until the next cycle. Like I'll wait until December to upload it so that people can look at it during Midwest and stuff like that, and then purchase it and program it this spring semester. And so I was like pretty frustrated, honestly, at the time. I was like, man, I paid for the recording session. Like I kind of sweated over like finishing this piece in time, and like I didn't get it out. And so I just saw this competition. I was like, oh, like, well, I got this good recording. I had amazing musicians on it, and I feel okay about the piece. So I'll slide it in. And yeah, then they emailed me and they're like, hey, you won. I was like, what? I was like, okay, cool. I was like, thank you guys. Yeah. And so that's how the competition happened. It was just pure luck. Like it was genuinely the last day of like deadline. Like I hopped onto my laptop super quick, uploaded everything. I was like, okay, cool. Wow. And then went to sleep. It was like at night too, because it was like.
And then how long did it take to learn that you'd won?
Well, let's see. I submitted, I think, in September, and then they got back to me. I think it was after the lab orchestra concert, so like mid-October. It wasn't that long actually. Okay. Usually competitions take much longer, like 3 to 4 months, but it was like 2 months, maybe 1 month of time, and then I had it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was like, cool.
Yeah. Let's look at the piece a little bit. So it starts out big. Right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It has that kind of minor feel.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you going for with that start?
I mean, truthfully, I just wanted like a loud beginning that tonally didn't set itself up in any key, if that makes sense. Like you can feel a B flat, but there's no like true like functional harmony yet. So it's like a tone is very concrete, like as in like the vibe is concrete, but like tonality wise, it's not concrete, if that makes sense. So there was a stability with instability, just like to set the tone, if that makes sense. This also was these are the exact chords when I was talking about like before I had to teach in TAing solfege. So like banging out chords, and those like the exact chords.
This was the exact.
Yeah, those are the exact chords. I was like, okay, I'm gonna base everything off of this, and so I was like, I'll just introduce the idea here with the whole ensemble. So that's how that happened. Yeah.
No, it's really, really cool. So, and it's in 3/4. It starts at 3/4, kind of moves. What was the thought of putting it in 3/4?
This is the rhythm that I was banging out on the piano.
It's like, just that simple.
It didn't fit into 3/4. Yeah, there's truly no like premeditation to that. It was just like it's 3 and 4.
Yeah. So that early on, so like 8th grade band, like do they pretty much start in 4/4? And is that moved to like a 3/4? Because I feel like most pop music is 4/4, so that's kind of what people have in their heads. When does that switch happen when they start doing different?
I think they learn about time signatures, not that they're playing crazy time signatures, in 6th grade. Like in the first year, like they at least learn like 4 on the top means 4 beats, 3 on the top means 3 beats. So I think they might even have 3/4 in 6th grade, like in their first year learning.
Okay.
I'm not an education major. Like, I've never done it, so like I really don't know. Like I'm kind of guessing through my own experience of just going through it. So I think like they've done it.
But you'll probably.
But surely by 7th grade, I think
you'll probably go to some middle schools and do like workshops.
Yeah, no, and I have in the past. So like, I try to be as helpful as I can because I'm like, I teach, but like I'm not as like certified as someone with a degree in teaching, if that makes sense. I don't know like the actual like psychological like stepping stones that are.
But you wrote the piece, so you have a knowledge about the piece.
Yeah. Like I'm there to help musically as much as I can, but like I don't like to think like I'm not there to like be their teacher. Like they have their teacher. Like I'm just trying to be as fruitful as I can when I'm there. Yeah.
Cool.
Makes sense,
yeah. So let's keep going. So it starts out loud and then it kind of drops. All right, so we start to have would you call that a melody?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's like the first instance where you're like, there's the line.
Yeah. And
I guess funny story is like that line actually came from because I went to Cidercade with like some friends and I was like playing Guitar Hero and I just remember like coming home thinking about that line. I was like, da, 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 da. I was like, man, that's kind of fire. Like I could steal that. Yeah. and then I did. And I was like, cool.
So okay. So it came from Guitar Hero.
It came from Guitar Hero. I just like it happened to fit into octatonic scale and I was like, cool. I'll take that and just like run with it.
Yeah.
It'll do its own thing.
So we have this, time signature. So you have that one measure of 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems complicated for 8th grade band. Is it not?
It's fine if like they get challenged. Like there's no really other way to like they're gonna encounter it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3/4 to 4/4 truthfully isn't like too terrible. I'd say like most time signature changes at 8th grade, like in like a grade 3, aren't too terrible if the bottom number isn't changing. So it's like from 3/4 to 4/4. I think it would have been like absolutely diabolical if I went like 3 4 6 8 7 8 4 4.
You want to sell the piece, right? Like, yeah.
I mean, honestly, truthfully, like my whole mindset is like I actually don't. Something I like don't care about, but my influence has never been like I hope this sells. It's just, I think as long as I'm being genuine like through the music, the people who connect to it. I think I just got lucky with this that like me being genuine connected with some people.
Mm-hmm.
Just this, yeah. Because not everything I do is technically like commercially really like viable. Honestly, I think it's just like I get lucky sometimes that like when I'm being honest through my music, it happens to just connect.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Yeah.
So what's happening like with that one measure? So you have a bunch of instrument. It's kind of hard to see, but you would know what those instruments. So it's some of those instruments come in and they just come in for that one measure, right? So what is that? It's,
some like woodwinds, like oboe, clarinets, and then trumpets.
Yeah, so
muted. Yeah.
What was the kind of inspiration there with that one measure where they come in and then they all go out?
I really wanted the line to come through. So like the line that we were just the Guitar Hero line. We'll just name it that. Like the Guitar Hero line. And so I wanted that to come through, but I like this idea of like texture being layered. And so it's like this like legato layer, but then on top of that layer is like this like very staccato like short layer. And so it gives it kind of like a pulsing feel. And so it's like doubled in different textures. And so I really like that. And so if you really want to get like nitty gritty on like specifically why those specific instruments is I like the nasally like voice of like a muted trumpet, I think pairs well with the oboe when it's an octave higher. And then like the clarinets are really like great at supporting at that like bottom register without, I guess, taking away from that timbre of being a little nasally. While on the other hand, like we have like the legato like saxophone, like able to carry that line just because I mean like saxophones can carry. And so, and especially in the 8th grade, like they want to carry, you know?
They always, them and trumpet players, they always want to carry. Yeah.
So that's kind of like specifically like how that happened, like instrumentation wise. Yeah.
All right, so now we have some of the stuff that's so cool, and this is the percussion. You've got some neat stuff going on there with the percussion. So let's talk about the percussion there. So how many different? There were some percussion things I'd never heard before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like later on when it's like the.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. So it's a flexitone.
Okay.
I remember even writing this because like I actually had never worked with it before. I like got like a percussionist. I won't name names. You know, they'll remain anonymous. Like got me to get one like from the UT band. And I was like trying to figure out like the range of it because like you can Google ranges, but I think each like it's not super accurate. And I'm trying to figure out like what the pressure is. Sorry, this is getting way too detailed. But like, that's kind of like how that flexitone came in. Like I like was finding like goofy sounds basically on percussion because I was like, well, it's gonna be like I guess more like chaotic clowny vibe, but dark, but like not too dark. Does that make sense? I need something that like cuts through this like minery feel that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That adds to that layer of like, okay, it's not that serious. It's not that deep, but it's a little, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how many different percussion like instruments, I guess, are in this?
6 percussionists. But I don't know how many like actual instruments there are. Once upon a time I did.
Yeah.
But, like not right now.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But I mean, the snare drum obviously is very standard and the cymbals, but like, then you have all this kind of cool stuff. And so this is, are you going, when you're writing this, are you thinking back to like that Latin phrase? Are you thinking to the poem? Are you thinking to the actual card game? Like when you're adding that kind of craziness?
I think I'm more thinking about the actual name, like Balatro. If that makes sense.
The Latin?
The Latin name. And then also, I guess some context I didn't give is the working name for, I think, a week or two was Flow-A-Tonic. Which was, so I was like trying to get like this like weird flow going on, and it was called like Flow-A-Tonic because it's like the tonic isn't really, the tonic is also continuously flowing. So that was like the working name. And so I think that also influenced a lot of like I think that was my aesthetic goal, if that makes sense, like Flow-A-Tonic.
Okay.
And then Balatro I think was just a better fit.
When I think about flow, though, I'm not thinking of like goofy sounds. And there's some goofy sounds going in this. I know. So I think it was a better name.
It was a better name, and I think that's like why some of these things came up. I think a lot of them came afterwards because I think I was talking to like my teacher. I was like, I think just like something's not like some things are missing, if that makes sense. So I know the flexotone came later. Like I think I had like the rhythms because the way I composed this was. I didn't immediately have it into instrumentation. I like used short scores, so I had like three piano scores, I think, and like was just writing through that, and then I added percussion, and then I think I had like one percussion line, and then I orchestrated it.
Okay,
if that makes sense. Yeah. And so that came. So I think that I like a lot of these like goofier ideas came afterwards. Like they're more like decoration in my head afterwards. But I mean, they became very like. Part of the underpinnings eventually.
Yeah. Now, how much of this was like that goofiness came out with just you thinking about it, or was this more of a collaboration with your professor?
No, it was like me. It was mainly me thinking about it. I think he was just like, he did tell me like you got to lean into it, but it wasn't like he was giving me like very specific parts.
When he said you have to lean into it, was he talking about the kind of the jokery feel?
Yeah. Like the clown vibe. He's like you got to lean into it. And so I tried my best.
No, it really works. It really works.
Yeah.
So very cool. So let's keep listening. So cool. We have a cool little flute. It's not a solo because they're all playing it, right? But a flute, I don't know what you call that when one section is soloing.
Yeah. It's called like a soli.
Soli? A soli.
We get like a little section being like, it's us.
Yeah. So now when you're writing for this age group, is it important that it's like, okay, the saxophones had their turn, now the flutes get their turn? Is that part of the thought process?
I like partially, yeah. It is. It's in tandem though with the process of like I don't want the same color to be too consistent, especially with this piece because I think I need to have the variety, like consistency. There is some consistency, of course, but like too consistent it gets boring, right? And so it was like both like I want the players, especially at this age, like to all get the turn, of course. But then also the idea of like I can't do the same thing twice, like exactly twice, if that makes sense. Like ideas come back, but they come back in different forms. And so it was really more of that thought process. Just so happens to also align that the kids get to have fun. But which I care about, which I care about.
So we switched to 2/4 again, one measure. Yeah. Right? Is there a thought with that?
Yeah. So it used to be 3/4. Okay. And then just timing wise, it just didn't feel right. I was like, okay, this should be a 2/4. It was more of an intuition than like a thought process. And then I think it's because I had already set up this idea when you brought up the 4/4 being interjected, is that lends itself to like the downbeat being shifted in like the listener's head. They're like, well, something's happened, but we're not really sure because the beat is so consistent. And so it's another variation of that, if that makes sense. And then we get it again eventually that you can see.
And that's after. So you have this huge build, right, back in 3/4, and then it drops down, and then we have one measure 4/4, one measure, then it goes back to 3/4. Yeah. So what's the and when we go to that 4/4, it's once again you just have is that woodwinds again?
So it's like woodwinds are like I guess the legato line on top of like the light texture, and then we also like the low brass doing the like eighth note version of the legato line, but they're still doing legato. So again, it's like that layered texture line, and so that's like how you get that effect that I wanted of like, it almost sounds like a pulsing legato line, if that makes sense. Yeah. Which is like something I kind of took from like electronic music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like an idea that I had. I was like, oh, this works.
Very cool. Like a DJ, like a.
Oh yeah. I listen to like a lot of like there's like this dude named like Midair Thief I listen to a lot, and he's like a Korean producer who's anonymous. And then I guess I listen to a lot of house too, which is more like DJing.
Kids are gonna love you when you go do workshops. You're like, and I got this from Guitar Hero and this.
I was like, oh, and also there's some like Shostakovich. Like by the way,
they're all gonna want to be composers when they grow up.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean that's the goal, I guess. Yeah.
All right, well let's keep going. So now we have a different feel, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on? What's it almost like a majestic feel?
Yeah,
would you say?
We're in a waltz now.
A waltz,
yeah.
So
like, it comes out of nowhere.
It does, but it's cool. It's cool, yeah.
So it's like more of a waltz feel because like 3/4, like you were talking about earlier, usually I think gets introduced in this like bump 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 feel, and so I was like, well, how can I make that into like more surprise? Because it's not fitting anything that's like came before, and I think that's like where this aesthetic can like really shine. It's like you're like, oh, like we're there.
Yeah,
like we're there, and it's such like again a loud interjection. And I think like I've done the loud interjections, of course, by now, but I don't think this is the loud interjection a listener's anticipating. So I'm like, okay, this is it, and like this is like I think like surprises are good in music.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. And I can imagine it'll be really great if you're conducting this.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can also teach like this is what often happens with 3/4 music, right? This is like the more traditional way 3/4 music sounds.
Yeah.
And and it's just they have to totally change the whole feel.
Yeah.
Any advice to conductors out there who might be conducting this on how to make that transition?
Take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm not a conductor, nor am I an educator.
But you know the piece very well.
I do know the piece very well. But I think you can then start feeling it in one, like bum, bum, boom, bum, bum. I think like everything before it's like 1, 2, 3, 2, boom, boom. But now you can feel like 1, 2. And I think that's like a great way of like communicating that feeling. It's like, hey, like we're not feeling individual beats anymore. We're feeling this like one big beat. And that's what needs to be emphasized. But
and the low brass seem to take a very crucial role here, right?
They do take that crucial role. Yeah, of like the boom, you know. And they're setting the tone.
Yeah.
And I think the only advice outside of that's not like technical is just like I think they need to like internalize the spirit of the Balatro. You know, like internalize the feeling of like the clown. Like I think it's fine.
For the waltz piece.
Yeah, even for this section. Like I think it's fine to like be in character, if that makes sense, for the students or for the musicians.
That's interesting because to me it felt like we almost like left character.
Like in a way, but like as in like the character of a clown. I guess if we're talking about that is the fact that it's multifaceted and like the characters that it plays, right? And so this is kind of like leaning into that.
Okay.
Of like there's like the sad clown, happy clown, goofy clown, like scary clown. Yeah. This is obviously not the scary clown, but like
this is a sophisticated clown.
Just like look at me. But like it's still like with the makeup, you know. So it's like it's more of like that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what was going on there.
Yeah, so I think this has to do with like we've built up so much energy and I've dissipated it very quickly, like in so many times, and so eventually it gets pent up, And so I was like, well, this needs to be almost like a climactic moment. So this is kind of that, like we're staying loud, we're staying forte, and then we're giving time to the melody, if that makes sense. And like, so this is like the tutti section. And so it's more of like formal wise, I was like, this needs to happen. And I think that came like intuitively, but it's also like, I knew like technically, like I've built up a lot of energy. It needs to be addressed. And so that's like kind of like how this section came to be.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, were you worried about building up too much energy too quickly?
Well, I think it gets frustrating if like a composer is like, you know, and then like eventually you need that, and then like a longer ooh. Yeah, like for a lack of better words in form. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't want to frustrate, you know. So, and since I hadn't maintained a long form of energy, it like this was a good spot.
Yeah. And now, of course, this is like when we go to the waltz, it's like it's abrupt, right? Like, and then when we leave it, it doesn't feel that abrupt.
Thank you.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah, very on purpose.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to be able to like know when that transition happened. It's like you're like, wait, when did we get here? Yeah.
So there again, would you have any advice for a conductor on leaving that? So you have this sudden change, right? Where it's like all of a sudden we're it almost feels like you're in a different world. Like we're in this like waltz, right? We're in like the Sound of Music or something. And then all of a sudden it's like, how do you get out of that? How do you do that gently?
Well, I think it's best. Like I tried my best to be subtle and transitionary about it. And you said they can see the score, right?
They can see the score, yeah.
Cool. If we look at measure 9/7, I'm setting this up, and I've been setting this up. It's like this like eighth note figure. If we've seen like the clarinets, alto saxophones, and tenor saxophones, like the da 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 da, because it's being layered into this waltz feel, it's not really like you can't feel it too hard, but it's there. And so that's like how I'm transitioning into it. So the best advice I can give is like you need to be subtle about it at first. Like it can't be like da 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 da. Like it's got to like blend into that bum bum feel. And then the more and more we transition, the more and more that line needs to come out. And so that's like how like it's seamless, if that makes sense. Because it's kind of like that. The new feeling has always just been there. It's just you weren't really taking notice to it as it overtakes the waltz feel. If that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. And it's so effective. It's really, really, really cool. So, and it's so cool because it also just came from this abrupt starting of it, right? So it's like it's real for a young musician. It's you're giving them lots of tools. Or challenges. Or headaches.
They're either gonna love me or hate me. You know, like it's just like Godspeed. I don't have to. Like I gotta hide behind the paper. You know. Good luck, conductor.
All right. Well, let's keep going. All right, so let's talk about that. It was some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's so like part of the climactic moment, and then as you can see, like we're now leading into, I guess, descent of it. Like the energy has been built up for this section, and it needs to fade out. So I think, and when I talked about like the editor making like suggesting a change, like that was a section. This was the section where it happened. It's like the bass line. I had some changes in it because originally it was much more dissonant and not on purpose. Yeah. So the lines are coming out, and I think I just like that. I personally like that the lower voices almost have like a counter melody now to like the top line.
Yeah, let's talk about that because it's almost like I don't want to say call and response.
Yeah,
but it's like
that's pretty close to that. Yeah. It's like I guess I hate like playing into cliches unless I'm like being almost satirical about it, which I think I am. Like I'm pretty satirical, I feel like, in this piece sometimes, which maybe is like part of a reflection of who I am. But that's kind of like what that was. I was like, call and responses are just like so common, so I'm gonna like layer them across each other a little bit so they aren't direct call and responses. And so that's kind of like how that section came to be. And then I also just wanted a fun bass line. I feel like brass players like that.
Yeah. So who's playing that? It's is that tuba and
tuba,
trombone?
euphonium, trombone, and I think sometimes the lower saxophones. Are on it. Yeah.
So are they supposed to kind of step on it like a little bit? Like when we say it's not quite lined up, would that be for advice for a conductor? Do you want them to like almost step on it? You know what I mean? Like
lean into it. If that's what you're saying, like really press into like the response.
I mean like jump on, like don't wait for the higher
notes
to finish.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So it's supposed to be a little bit messy.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, yeah. I remember like in the recording session, like because we were in the booth, and like one of the composers was like, "That's on purpose, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." Because I think like part of the reaction is I want a person to be like, what's going on? Yeah, because it's so organized, but then it's like kind of not. Yeah,
going back to like that clown feel
there is an aesthetic that I was aiming for.
No, and it works really, really well. All right, well, let's keep going. All right, so here's kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the percussion. Mm-hmm. Some cool stuff going on here.
Yeah.
It has a haunted housey kind of feel. So it's like the energies come way down.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're bringing the energy down, it's kind of like instrument, right? So is that to kind of give everybody a shot playing, or like what is the thought process?
I love the way that you think. I mean, it's making me look better. But it was really more of like logistical. Like I like the the timbre changes.
Okay.
Like going into it, and so I was trying to like it's just like the best way to like come down. I just like I like the effect of like having a layered voices entering in and out into like a smaller, thinner texture, if that makes sense. And so but yeah, I was thinking about the players.
Yeah, and, and then you got that. I forget the name of the instrument. It's like a xylophone, but like
the vibraphone.
The vibraphone. Yeah, and that's what I hear, right?
Yeah. So it's I think this is like one of the cool parts where I was really thinking about the players. It's gonna be 2 percussionists on the same vibraphone, and they both have 2 double bass bows to like bow the notes, and so they have to like work together, and so that's why they're on separate staves or staves. And so they're on each side because like the way it works, it's like the lower notes, like the white notes, and then like the black notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're thinking about a piano. So they can't actually reach over, especially if I'm anticipating them being in like 8th grade. Like I imagine their arms are a little shorter than mine. So they have to be on one side and then
they
the
either
other
are
side.
They aren't.
Yeah. It's like they're either like crazy tall or like like 4'2". And so it's like, and so that's like just a cool moment for them. And I think visually, this is something I do think about. I think a lot of composers think about nowadays is like the visual effect of players. And so I think I like the idea of the audience then looking over to the percussionist and being like, oh my gosh, like we got like 2 people on the same instrument and like with bows on each side of them. And so like, and that like I think really draws the eyes to that instrument, which then means the ears.
Okay.
And so like, and this is where like I'm really writing for the concert hall, not really for a recording. And so that's like one of those effects that I really like. It's like if your eyes are really getting drawn to that, your ears are also really going to get drawn to it. And so that then takes over. And so then these like melody, like kind of melodic lines take the foreground, even though usually on a recording, they're the main thing. And so it's like one of those effects that like perceptually changes.
Yeah.
Like, whether you're listening on headphones or if you're there in person. And so that's something I really thought about.
Yeah. It's this and the waltz were my 2 favorite parts of the piece.
You know what? Me too.
Yeah. So, and now it's like so much cooler. I didn't pick up on the bow.
Yeah.
You know, so so it's 2 people and they each have a bow.
They each have 2 bows.
Each have 2 bows.
So there's 4 bows, 2 people.
Okay. Yeah. And now, so one thing is like, I think it's so cool that you're thinking about the visual, but like, isn't that usually way in the back?
Yeah, it is way in the back. But usually it depends on the concert hall, I guess. Mm-hmm. But generally, if like all the players aren't playing, and if you see like two people in the back and there's a weird sound coming, you're like, yeah, what? Like, yeah. And so that's one thing. But like if it's like an actual staged in-depth like audience, then you can really see what's going on. So it really just depends on the venue. But like it's like I think either way it works. Mm-hmm. So either like you have like this like kind of like haunting line that's going on, and then this is just like text like vibe bode texture going on in the background, or you have like this visual vibe in the front, and then the lines going on in the back. Yeah.
And now, percussionists, this might be the first time they've ever touched a bow.
Yeah.
How hard is it to do that?
I believe it's...
I assume you snuck into like the band hall and tried it.
Maybe. I mean, I'm graduating. Yes. Yeah. What are you going to do? Take my degree away from it? No, I'm kidding. So yeah. Yeah, I did, and like and this is something I've done a lot before in my music. So I did it. Like I did a lot of my undergrad also. So it's not too bad. I think the harder part is that it's two at the same time.
Yeah.
So like if your left hand isn't getting a good grip, because like you kind of have to get a lot of friction onto it and then pull up, and then that's like how that sound's happening.
So does the bow go on like the entirety of that side?
Yeah. So you put the hair onto like the short side. So there's long side, short side, and then you put it like at the end, and then you just make sure there's like some like friction going on, and then you start like pulling it up.
Oh wow!
And so you just got to make sure you plant it right. And I think I was very considerate about the timing of all of it. Anytime I used two, the next one wasn't going to be two, so that they could like replant into the next one. And if it's just one note at a time, it like allowed them to like plant, go, and then allow their other hand to plant before the next note starts. Yeah. So that's it's one of those like technical considerations I have to have when composing, not just for like I guess like younger musicians. It's like also like at like much higher levels, I have to be like, gotta make sure this is possible.
yes.
Yeah. So,
no, I mean, I thought it was so cool when I listened to it, but now that I hear all this, that'd be like the dream. If you're in 8th grade and you get to do that, it'd just be so cool.
I think I'd feel so cool.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I got the vibe part.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to feel, like mom, look at this.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice because usually they get the boring parts, like with the triangle. Here they get this awesome.
They're sitting there for like on their phone. Yeah. Like, oh, there it is. I'm like, nah, you're gonna work today. Yeah. Like all of you. You're not resting, dog. Like, you're on this part.
Cool.
Then, I guess if we could, it also the vibe. I mean, the flexitone. It comes back. That's what I was talking about.
And these are the things you.
Like that. Like that. I like. And I really wanted. So what I really wanted to try is it has such a goofy vibe to it. Like and like even like when it first gets introduced, it's set in that tone. And I was like, well, how could I like give it almost like an eerie tone then? I was like, I'm going to set up a really uncomfortable context. This isn't too uncomfortable, but I'm just really leaning into the octatonic feel of like it not being tonally stable, and like then adding it in like a more piano version where it's like, well, this is kind of creepy. Like I guess it's the juxtaposition of like that goofy sound onto this more creepy sound that you're kind of like Like I think that's like what attracted a lot of people into like listening to it. They're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like,
it is cool. And it's something you don't hear that often in wind music.
Yeah.
Right. Especially like the younger, like the 8th grades, it's like you hear so much like Star Wars and it's like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Good job ruining that.
No, I'm just making it like a little uncomfy, but so goofy, like.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome piece. All right. Well, let's keep going. All right, so we have that shift, so you can just feel the energy, the shift. So you have timpanis come in, right?
Yeah, it's a timpani that's really doing that,
Yeah. It sounds like that would be hard to conduct, that shift. Is it? Or is it? It almost sounds like it almost falls apart a little bit. Is that on purpose, or is that just me?
No, I think it's like slightly on purpose. I think everything's been so... I guess you could say square, like everything, like there's no syncopation that's happening. That's why this section also feels so different from all the other sections. Like I'm letting the beats now just fall onto where they're supposed to fall on. And then that's why the timpani part almost feels like, whoa, okay, we're coming back. Because that's the same, like the dun dum bum 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 is like the main rhythm that gets introduced. Like that is like the most common, I guess you could say, motif within this piece. And so that gets introduced, and you're like, oh, like we're like the beat, like my internal beat has been lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I felt that too. It's like, I'm lost a little bit.
Yeah. So you're kind of like, oh, what? And then I don't think you immediately recognize either that timpani beat is what's about to come, like the main motif. Yeah,
it almost sounds out of place. It's like, and then it kind of comes.
And then it's like a realization of like, oh, we're back.
Yeah. So you think that'd be hard to be that timpani player?
No, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think at this level, like that rhythm isn't too bad for a percussionist. Okay. So I think it's actually pretty, I don't want to say easy, but very accessible. Like they've definitely done something like that before. Yeah. And I think they would err more on the side of like happy as like they're like, it's kind of just me.
It's pretty cool. It's either cool or scary.
Yeah, it's cool. I guess. Yeah. They're a little anxious, Like, I mean, as I guess middle schoolers are sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think like I want to give them like the chance to be like not the person in the back, but with the spotlight on them.
Yeah. No, you put a lot of the spotlight on the people in the back. So very cool. Well, let's keep going. So let's talk about that. This is the first time we're hearing that in this piece. So talk through what that is.
I just like it. So it wasn't there before. Like I was like, well, I need to close out the piece with this main idea, right? It was introducing an idea. It's salient throughout the whole piece, but there needs to be something else. And this idea like came through because it's very like energetic and like it feels like a shout. If it makes sense. Yeah. And that's what. Without it just didn't feel conclusive. If that makes sense. Like when I originally like was rapping on the piece, I was like, something's missing. And so eventually I landed on that idea. And the growling, which is like what really adds that like effect, actually like came from my teacher. He's like, they need to growl on this. And I was like, oh, you're right. Like I forget like they can do that. And the important part is that it's optional. I think it still works if you don't, because I originally had it where it didn't.
So let's talk. So it's so the growl. Like, how is it optional?
So like. Growling might be actually a little hard depending on like how experienced they are. I would say the majority of pieces in grade 3 aren't asking for that. So this would be like their first instance of having it. So luckily it's not like without it, the piece falls apart, but like it adds a lot. And so the way you do it, you can either like, there's 2 ways of doing it. Technically the main way is like you sing and play. So you're like singing and producing air through your instrument. Or you could be like rolling your R and then blowing air and playing your instrument. And that's how you get that effect. But like, it's not like unless you can really roll your R's well, it's not like a switch that you can just like, oh yeah, let me just do this real quick. Yeah. And so that's like how it became optional. I was like, I don't want people to think you have to do it. Like it's like, it could even be like some musicians do it, some musicians don't, and you still get that kind of effect. And that's totally fine with me. Like, it's not like it has to be there or else you like defeat my artistic integrity. It's like, no, like, like do it if you can. It's okay if you can't.
Would you recommend that to a conductor? Either option 1 is they make the decision, we're going to do it or we're not, or is it better for the conductor to say, teach musician, you can do it if you want or not?
Yeah, that's a good. I err on the side of, and this is kind of like how I always interact with conductors if I can't be there in person, is I trust their ears to make that decision. If that makes sense. Like if I can't be there to like tell you like what, it's like I trust you as a musician and as a conductor to make your own decision on that. I don't have like a clear cut answer for it. Because it's like sometimes I think if half the ensemble can do it and half the players can't, I think it could still work. And sometimes if it's like only like 10% of the players can do it and 90% can, it's like, well, if it still sounds okay, like if it's just so like play by play, like year by year, it might not work. So generally, I trust the conductor to make their decision.
No,
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, well let's finish this piece out. All right. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So we get a little bit of the zany percussion at the very end, just kind of tying it all back. Yeah. Ends on a big high note.
Yeah.
Right? Was there any thought to close it out any other way?
No, I think it needed to be this. There I don't think there was another version. I think also like the deadline was like there, and so I was like, I didn't entertain any ideas. Oh. I was like, yeah,
you need to turn it in.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, that was it. I was like, so I didn't entertain anything else.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great piece. And anything else you want to share about just the piece in general?
I don't think I think that's about it, honestly. Okay. Yeah. Like I think I've never talked about this specific piece this much before, so it was nice.
And so you're doing some other stuff, right? You've got another piece for symphonic orchestra, right? Which is completely different.
Yeah, very different. Right? Yeah. Still uses octatonic scale here and there though. But
okay.
Very different.
Cool. And then you're graduating?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your plans?
I'm gonna be oh man, I guess this is an official announcement. I've been keeping it under wraps actually, but I don't need to anymore. I'm going to be taking a year off. I've like deferred my offer, and I'm going to go do my doctorate in composition at CU Boulder. So I'll be moving to Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah, which will be quite a fun time, I think. I love Colorado. I used to live there for a year, so.
Nice. Where in Colorado did you live?
I lived in a couple months in Colorado Springs, and then I moved up to Denver there during like COVID, actually, yeah.
So a year off?
Yeah, so I'll be like staying in my apartment. Like I made a lot of friends here. Master's is just such a short program, like 2 years, and you just kick me out. Like, I made friends.
We're not kicking you out. Yeah.
So I was like, well, like I'll stay here for another year, and then I'll just like focus on composing and just like not do school for it, because I've been in school this is my 7th year of college. So I'm like, yeah.
So is it big, like something big, like you want to write an opera this year?
No.
I mean, you have a year of nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'll be like I still like teach at a music school nearby.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, it would be nice to like not have school. Not have homework, not have classes. So there's a lot of projects I'm working on. I have some commissions that I have to like wrap up.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be like the majority of it. It's like some like commissions I have, and then I want to write a few pieces for myself again. I think it's been a while. I've like written something purely for like myself. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to lean into again. And I guess publish more works and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what I'll be doing. And then back to school.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down. This has been wonderful. So it's a great piece.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you liked it.
I did. I loved it. So thank you.